All right, we're recording. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra Rosa. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the Teen Services Librarian at the South Hill branch of the Pierce County Library System. And today we're doing career interviews with some of our Teen Volunteer League members and our guest, Dr. Larson, who is an orthodontist. So just a rundown on what this program is. Teen Volunteer League is a mentorship and leadership development program for Pierce County youth ages 14 to 18. In the past, this program has been held at all 20 of our library locations. Due to the pandemic, the program is now online. Youth meet virtually over Zoom and Discord for 10 weeks over the summer. Over the course of the program, youth engage in project-based and creative work related to libraries, community, and reading, receive training and support for job skills, and connect on issues of importance to them and their futures. TVL's big project this summer is called Career Interviews. TVL members are interviewing workers in Pierce County about what they do and how they got to be where they are. TVL members told us who they wanted to hear from, and we reached out. Today, we are interviewing Dr. Ethan Larson, who is an orthodontist. Let our teams introduce themselves and take over.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and my pronouns are she and her.
Hi, my name's Kendra. My pronouns are she, her, and just a warning in advance, my internet's spotty, so if it goes out, just ask me to repeat myself, and I will.
Okay. Well, good morning, ladies. This is a great opportunity. I'm glad I get to talk to you this morning, just go through a little bit of what is exciting about orthodontics and how I got here. So one of you want to go ahead and jump in with the first question?
Hi, Ethan. Thank you for joining us today. The first question for today is, when did you realize you wanted to be an orthodontist, and what other career choices that you had before being an orthodontist?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Well, for me, I knew I wanted to be an orthodontist. It didn't happen till college, actually. And to answer your second question of what other options I thought about doing, I kind of always was focusing on the medical career. My dad was an orthodontist, but that didn't initially pull me to orthodontics. So like I said, in college, I was thinking about going into the medical career, and just looking at the different options. Really what pulled me into it is my dad had me start doing lab work for his practice. So that's like making retainers. You guys have probably have those or know about those, all the different types, from the ones that are clear and plastic to the ones with the metal wires. And so I made all those. And so I did those while I was going to college. And that really pulled me in to see the inner workings of what it looked like to be an orthodontist. And just because I didn't get to shadow my dad a whole lot growing up, it just didn't happen a lot. So ironically, it wasn't until I went to college I got to see that. So yeah, overall, that's what kind of pulled me in, is just that seeing the inner workings of how things were going, and just seeing the joy, that was on people's faces after the braces came off, and just the transformations that were happening. So that's kind of that was my first foot in the door. And then once I still wasn't sure, so I applied to both. Doing for medical school, you apply for MCAT, which is the admissions test for medical school, and then dental school you do the DAT, which is the admissions test for dental school. And the medical test didn't go as I wanted it to. I still could have gotten in, but just wasn't where I felt the calling to be. And my DAT went really well, and so that kind of solidified it for me. At that point, it was just kind of looking like, okay, this pathway is kind of closing down and this one's opening up. And so I pursued that pathway, got into dental school down in Alabama. And then I'll give you a little bit of history of what it takes to become an orthodontist, or maybe you guys are going to ask that, but got into dental school down in Alabama. And yeah, things just flourished down there.
That's cool that you got to like see the inner workings before you went into it. And so our second question is, was there a defining moment where you knew you wanted to work in the industry? And what made you interested in orthodontics over a different type of practice like dentistry?
Yeah, really good question. That one didn't the moment I knew I wanted to become an orthodontist, there's probably a couple different moments. The first moment was when I was working with my dad in his orthodontic lab, just being able to do that. So that was the first moment that kind of guided me towards orthodontics or dentistry as a whole. But there are multiple times going through dentistry, and that's just a lesson for life as well. There's multiple times going through dentistry. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to stay a general dentist, which would be a wonderful career, or if I wanted to pursue another specialty. I thought about becoming an endodontist and such. Part of it was opportunities. There's multiple times where I looked at my life situation and said, hey, I'm just going to work hard for it and see what doors open and which ones don't. Orthodontics, I always wanted to do, but it's so competitive to get into. So to give an idea, in dental school, typically to become a specialist, you usually have to be at the top of your class. Oral surgeons are, typically have to be in the top 5% of your class to become an oral surgeon or orthodontist. And, to be honest with you, I was like, am I going to make that? Am I going to have the grades to be able to do that? And it turned out I ended up doing it, but that wasn't until my junior year in dental school that I realized that I had the grades, even though I wanted to do that all the way through. So I had to have those backup options and really look back and look at look at all the things in my life and say, you know what, no matter what happens, I'm blessed. Just work hard at whatever you're doing and find joy and through that, whatever you're doing. So the first moment was with my dad. I continued to pursue it, and then it worked out. Yeah, really.
The third question, what's the most difficult aspect of your job?
Most difficult aspect of my job is wearing so many different hats. So throughout the day, I'll see patients, and that's really a huge joy. Have you guys had orthodontics before as well?
I have. I just finished. I got my braces off last month, actually.
Okay, so you know how it's been. Caitlin, have you as well?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, it's, if you're in the chair, you get to see the orthodontist, and oftentimes you get to spend a good bit of time with the team as well. But that's, the moment the orthodontist comes over and checks your teeth and braces and take a look at all that stuff. And Kendra, you can attest to that. You'll spend some time with them, and that's a huge joy for us as orthodontists to be able to interact and see what's going on with your lives and such. The most difficult aspect of the job, though, is that's only probably about 60% of the job. The other 40% is running a small business. So every orthodontist, well, not every orthodontist, but orthodontists like myself who own a business, we also, decide who's on the team. We have to guide and direct the team. So we have to lead and manage, everything going on. If something's broken, we have to know who to call or to get people help, who to call. But overall, the other 40% is throughout the day, you're not just thinking about orthodontics, you're thinking about your team, and you're thinking about situations arising of how best to serve your community, serve your patients, serve your team. So at the end of it, I think the most difficult thing is, I have a wife and 4 kids as well. And I could say the most difficult thing is at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. So going home and having energy left to still be a dad and a father, I think is difficult. It's just, to be completely honest, is not feeling, just being so drained from everything, but still going home and seeing the greatest joy of my life, and that is my family, and be able to still have some energy left to give to them. So it's just, sometimes you feel stretched thin, and that's okay. That's part of life. That's part of job. You can still have a job, which I love doing, and just feel completely honored to be able to be an orthodontist and still have those days of being felt stretched thin. And there's other days too where you don't feel that way. But to answer your question directly, I think that's the most difficult aspect of the job, is just being pulled in many different directions.
Our fourth question is, can you tell us the difference between being a dentist and being an orthodontist?
Yes, great question. All right, so after you get accepted to dental school, that's 4 years, and you learn, you go through all the basic sciences first couple years, and then year 2, 3, and 4, you're working a lot with patients. Year 3 and 4, you're pretty much just working with patients, and that's where you learn how to do crowns, fillings, all the different, root canals, all the different services that a general dentist can do. They can do it all. They can do all those things. And then specialists are there to focus on a specific area of things to do. So like an endodontist will do root canals really, 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 really well, and do the very tricky ones too. Oral surgeons will do, extraction of teeth and jaw surgery. Periodontists will do kind of gum grafts and do implants and such, and many other things. I'm just simplifying it, but a pediodontist will do, treat kids, specifically, and orthodontists will focus on transforming the jaws and teeth and getting the jaws lined up and getting the teeth lined up. So educationally, the difference is once you go through the 4 years of dental school, you have to apply and get accepted again to a specialty program. And for orthodontics, it's typically about 2 or 3 more years after dental school. So altogether, you're looking at, after college to become an orthodontist, you're looking at about 6 to 7 years of additional schooling. So then once you become an orthodontist, you typically stop doing those other things like fillings and crowns and such. You just, again, you're a specialist, so you're focused on braces. You're focused on making sure the jaws are growing the right way. And so that's what other dentists will come to me for, just saying, hey, this kid's teeth are going this way, this kid's jaws are going this way, and it's affecting other things in their mouth and their dental health. So can you get fixed for them? I'm like, yes, we can. The other thing too is, with orthodontics, we don't just deal with kids. About 35% of my practice is adults. So a lot of adults still get braces and get treatment as well. But orthodontists will focus on the jaws, getting those aligned, and on the teeth and getting those aligned. While dentists will typically focus on not aligning the teeth, but fixing the teeth where they're at and making sure those stay healthy.
Our fourth, our fourth question is: did you ever had to go to the orthodontist as a child, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, I did. So when I was a kid, while I was growing up, my dad was going through his orthodontic residency. So do you guys remember headgear? Do you know what that is? Like when in Finding Nemo, the girl down in Australia, she had like the headgear on. It's like the wires that go outside the mouth, and you wear a strap over your head to wear it to. So that's what headgear is. Looks really dorky. It's very uncomfortable. If you sleep the wrong way at nighttime, it presses on your face and on your teeth, and it hurts. So I had that growing up. And my dad was actually the one who made me wear it. So yeah, I did. I had braces, or I just had that when I was, growing up, when I still had baby teeth and adult teeth. And sometimes, not all kids have to have that, but sometimes when you're growing up, you have adult teeth and baby teeth, you have to do some orthodontics to make sure everything's growing right. And I was one of those kids. So I had to have that, what we call the first round or phase 1. I had to have that phase 1 treatment. And then when all of my adult teeth came back in later, later as I got older, all the adult teeth came in, I had to have the second round, or called phase 2, where braces go on all the teeth. And so I ultimately did that, not until I was all the way in orthodontic residency. So I went all the way from when I was a kid, didn't have any treatment until I was in orthodontic residency. So I was an adult by the time I had my braces done. And yeah, I just remember just the joy and nervousness of getting the braces on, and the excitement of getting them off. I don't remember a whole lot in between, maybe some pokey wires and stuff. But I remembered those 2 events very vividly, just the excitement of both at the beginning and end. So it's really enjoyable going through that, because then I get to experience and remember that. And so that way I understand when you guys have braces, the emotions that you guys are going through as well, to be able to, celebrate with you at the end, but also talk you through that nervousness in the very beginning too. Good question.
What would you say to anyone interested in potentially becoming an orthodontist?
Okay. I would say, focus on what, break it down into steps. So focus on what you need to do, especially in high school. Focus on what you need to do to get into college, to start that process. And in high school, it's not too early. I have it all the time. It's not too early to start shadowing orthodontists. So I have high school students all the time come through and kind of shadow, just to kind of get that feeling of what it's like. Again, remember, like that was me in college. I started working in my dad's orthodontic practice, and that's what really got me excited about it. So similar to you, it's just that fire can be ignited at at the age you guys are at right now, honestly. And so it doesn't take long to spend a couple hours in a couple different practices to kind of see what does it look like to be in an orthodontic practice and not be sitting in the chair. What does it look like to spend some hours? What does the energy feel like? What would you be doing on a day in to day out basis? Like I said before, only 60% of my time is spent with patients, and the other 40% is with doing the other things like running a business. So what does that look like? Is that exciting to you? Or would you rather be some other specialist? The beautiful thing about becoming a dentist is you can stay a dentist and do a lot of different things and have a completely fulfilling career. Or you could go into the different specialties, endodontics and et cetera. And they're all different. People are made to do different things, and they're all wonderful things. So my suggestion would be work hard, get into some practices to see what it looks like to be there day to day, and then work hard towards getting into a good college to start working towards getting into dental school. But take it one step at a time. Don't be overwhelmed with the schooling. It'll pass by and it'll be enjoyable. Parts will be enjoyable, but don't be overwhelmed by the schooling. It's just take one step at a time.
Does being an orthodontist take up a lot of your time during the week, or can you still do other things like other hobbies?
Yeah, really good question. It can take up as much time as you allow it to, and that's true for a lot of careers. You have to always make that decision of where's your work and life balance, and that's not unique to orthodontics. So running a small business, you can get caught up in thinking about it all the time and working on it all the time, but you have to set those boundaries so that way you have that balance, so that way you can still be a spouse, or just like for me, so that way I can be a husband and a father. That those are really important things to me. And so having that balance is a choice. I could work 7 days a week on this, and it would still demand more time. But for me, I need to have that separation, so that way on the weekends my family has the best of me as well. That's a really good question. That again, I have to emphasize that applies to any career. You need to always find that work-life balance. Don't think of as your career as a marathon, not a sprint. You need to set that up to where you can enjoy each and every day and enjoy each and every week, so you don't get burnt out. And so that way, and if you go into the medical career, you're much more valuable to your patients, not getting burnt out. If you run 100 miles an hour, for 3 years and get burnt out, that's not beneficial to you or people around you. So it's important to have that work-life balance.
Next question is, how would you describe your work environment?
A lot of fun. So yeah, we have, the girls are oftentimes singing. We have music going. The girls are oftentimes singing to music. We're kidding around with each other. In some ways, it's like a big family. It's a work family for sure. And like with any family, it has its times where of people not getting along, like any other group. And So it's really a lot of fun though. It's work, and that's the thing with jobs as a whole. It doesn't mean that each and every day, even though it's your passion, even that that's where you want to be, that doesn't mean that there's days that are difficult, are not difficult. There are those days that are tough, but as a whole, just the job can be made what you want it to be. And here at Smiles Orthodontics, we have a lot of fun. We truly enjoy being around each other. The whole team does, and that starts, and again, that's intentional. We start every morning with a morning meeting, talking about what's going on in each other's lives, talking about what we can do to serve our patients the best that day. And then we do a lot of things outside of work too, together as a team, and that helps keep us together and keep so that way it's fun when you show up to work. But yeah, as a whole, we have a lot of fun around here. It's really cool.
Is there any aspect of your job you don't particularly enjoy?
That I don't particularly enjoy?
Yes.
Yeah. The part that is least desirable would be having to fire someone. And I've had to do that, being a small business owner, and that part is not fun. It's not fun for anyone. It's not fun to be fired. It's not fun for the person firing someone. And leading up to that, that's typically not just out of the blue, hey, you're fired. There's usually a lot of conversations before that time saying, you're going down the wrong path. You need to change trajectory here. You're doing this, this, and this that needs to get corrected. Because if you don't get corrected, you can't be a part of this organization anymore. So it's typically not a surprise, but it still doesn't mean it's easy to do or easy to hear. So that's definitely the least enjoyable part of my job, is having to fire someone.
Do you have any funny stories from the office?
There are some. There was one that happened yesterday. I probably shouldn't share that one. Just, my brother-in-law just being a silly brother-in-law. The funny stories are typically just day in, day out with the girls doing different things. One time that I can remember is just the chairs, our dental chairs. I get just there's the rollers at the bottom of them, right? The wheels. And the wheels at the bottom of the dental chair, I just upgraded them to better wheels. So they rolled easier, right? And so I remember just one time, it was in the first couple years of my career, I went to sit down on that chair, but it rolled away because the wheels were, spinning, rolling so easily, and just fell right on my butt, just right on the ground. And I don't know who was more shocked, whether it's me or my assistants or the patient, but yeah, that was one that comes to my mind. It's just falling right on my butt. I'm trying to think of other ones. A lot of them are just day in, day out. Nothing's coming straight to my mind of just that. But there's always jokes going around. We're always the girls like to tease me about not having a whole lot of hair up there, and I like to tease myself as well about those things. And so it's just a lot of fun banter that goes on throughout the day. But that one story kind of comes to my mind of just some humor. It didn't feel good, but yeah, it was still funny, especially looking back at it. It's really funny.
How did you get into crabbing?
Say that again.
How did you get into crabbing?
Into what?
Crabbing.
Into crabbing?
Yes.
I don't know if I completely understand. How did I get into crabbing?
Yeah, the teens looked at your website and it said that
got it. Okay, yes. Thank you.
We're going into hobby territory.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Basically, so when I used to live in Puyallup, and then my in-laws, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law were living with us, and he was serving in the military, and he was retiring from the military. And so he, when he retired, he grew up on the water, and he really wanted to be on the water. And so this was about about 60 years ago now, actually. And so we started looking at places to live on the water because we kind of had a meeting, just said, hey, let's stay together. And so we moved out to Gig Harbor. And out there, we found a house that's on the water on the Puget Sound. And so one of the things that you get to do, not where we live, not this year, at least it's been closed, but in that year when we moved there, he got a tiny little boat and got some crab pots, and we got to go out there and drop the crab pots. So kind of the way I got into it was just by where we lived, having that ability. And I've always loved the water as well, so it just worked out. Sorry for not understanding your question before. I needed to change my mindset there. But yeah, so that's how we got into it. It's just when we moved out to Gig Harbor, we got to be able to go out and do it. It was a lot of fun.
And then kind of going off that, do you crab, fish, boat, and snow ski as personal hobbies or with your family?
Family. So a lot of my hobbies are definitely have been, family related. Just so just a little bit about my kids. My oldest daughter, she's going off to college this week, actually. So I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. And so she's going off to college, but I've focused a lot of my hobbies around family activities. So my own personal hobbies, I haven't done a whole lot of those, honestly, and that's perfectly fine with me. I get to enjoy being with the kids at sports or going camping with them or going fishing with them. One of the most fun fishing trips we've done is tuna fishing out of Westport. And I took some of the kids doing that. But yeah, a lot of the hobbies, with, like being on the water, especially, which I enjoy, it has to do with being with the kids, for sure.
Our last question is, how did you balance out your career and your personal life? Because I know being in the medical field and in the office can be very time consuming.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have not done it perfectly throughout my career. That's been difficult to do at times. For example, I'll kind of give you at a moment like where my youngest son was really young, probably about 2 years old, and so had just bought the practice. I was working hard, like what I talked about before. This practice and that work-life balance, it can really pull you in more. And so, believe it or not, I was still working at the practice at 3 o'clock in the morning, and still here at the location working. And I didn't know this, but my son got croup, which is kind of like coughing, and he just it was getting worse and worse. And thankfully, our next door neighbor was a wonderful doctor who lives here in Puyallup, and he came over because my wife couldn't get a hold of me because my cell phone was in a different room and I was just working hard in a different room, and so she couldn't get a hold of me. So he came over to stay with the kids while my wife took my youngest son, to ER. So that was really a wake up moment for me of just like, hey, it's time to find that work life balance. And throughout the time, and you too experience this as well. Throughout life, you'll do better times of finding that balance than others, but it's constantly, I would say, it's constantly on my mind of, am I achieving a good balance for this, and for my life, of achieving that work-life balance. But it takes certain situations like that to kind of open your eyes and say, hey, this is not healthy. This is not a good balance here. And that was one of them for me. It's just that, and that's vivid, that's seared into my memory of a time of, what not to do. So since then, I've been striving to, find that balance each and every day, and each and every week, and every month, and every year, to so much so that I set out those goals, actually, of how much of what a ideal work-life balance would look like.
Okay, so we actually have one last more question, and it's
Okay.
what advice would you give your teenage self if you could go back in time?
Oh, do it all over again. That's what I tell my teenage self, is just enjoy the ride. That would be one thing I'd tell him, is just, hey, there's going to be difficult times going through the process. Dental school, there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights. you know, you're not sure if you're going to make it into ortho residency, but that's okay. Just relax. Don't be anxious about it. Just enjoy the process, enjoy each moment, because you can, tell my teenage self, you could put such a goal of living in the future that you forget to enjoy the present. And that would be the advice I would tell my teenage self, is enjoy the process, enjoy the moments, even the difficult moments, for what they are, and that is shaping you into be the individual that you'll become.
Thank you all very much for this interview. I had a lot of fun listening on the sidelines. Kendra and Caitlin, you did beautifully. Dr. Larson,
Yes, good job.
thank you for answering all of their questions.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, this is a really fun interview.
Yeah,
Dr.
girls, thank
Larson,
you so much.
I will send you the file for this recording. It may take some time before it is
Sure.
publicly available to anybody, but the teens will have access to it and you'll have access to it.
Great.
So you can share it as you wish. And we can officially sign off now. I'll let you get back to your work.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.